Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 5, another 7 curious interesting things I saw last week. So let's crack on. This is invisible 3D printed infrared QR codes, so all the buzzwords there. This is MIT who have managed to, during the 3D printing process, embed a infrared QR code. That's readable to a camera that has an infrared filter on it, so you and I can't see it with our naked eyes, but what it does allow you to do is recognize those invisible codes, and for instance in this example you can then calculate the angle of that QR code, use it as a steering wheel. If this was a router, for instance, not only can you get the model of it, you can also get the password, for instance, and in this case what's happening is somebody's 3D printed a mug and they want another mug, so the actual model URL from Thingiverse is already embedded into the object, so you can't delete those data because it's in the object itself. So yes, it's what research are calling real-world metadata. So this is only for 3D printed objects at the moment, but there's no reason this can't be in manufactured objects. So yeah, quite interesting. Objects around you might have more information than you realise quite soon. This is a really cool thing. So this is the Cease and Desist Grand Prix. So this is by US-based art collective MSCHF, and what they've done here is they create artworks and they sell them. They've done some things that have sailed a little close to the wind, and they've had a fair few cease and desist letters from lawyers saying please don't use our logos, etc. So what they've done here is they've poked fun straight at them here. So they've taken 8 relatively litigious brands known for protecting their brands, so Disney, Coca-Cola, Subway, etc. And they created these racing jerseys, all with unlicensed logos on them, and people could buy those and therefore place a bet by buying each specific logo, which one is going to send a cease and desist letter first. So those people who bought the Subway shirt are obviously the winners, because that's exactly what happens. I think the other brands probably saw it for what it was, in that it's probably a bit of a PR disaster, so they haven't done it yet, but maybe they just haven't noticed. Either way, if you do go onto the website, you can actually send a tweet to those brands to say please come and sue us. So I just thought it was really interesting. Obviously if you work for one of those brands, yeah, sorry about that, but I thought it was really interesting. That's how you get noticed. This is Google. They've announced Topics, which replaces FLoC, which replaces cookies. So this is potentially the new solution. So I'll just explain that. So cookies, as we know, are being phased out because they're a bit creepy and they can follow people, but advertisers really like them because they allow them to be creepy and follow you and know what you like. So what do advertisers do when they can't follow you? Well, they tried what's called federated learning of cohorts, which is FLoC, which basically means they can sort of see what you do. They're not going to actually know it's you exactly, but they know that people like you are looking at mountain bikes or handbags or whatever it is. So that's fine, except for it isn't, because it can still apparently be a sort of retro-engineered to find out who you are, cross-referenced, etc. So people like WordPress, Amazon, didn't actually support it at all. So this is where Topics comes in. So what it does is it takes 5 of your interests each week and then just says those are the 5. Okay, so for instance, if you're looking at holidays in America, or if you're looking at buying a new motorcycle, then that's what you're interested in that week. It will send you adverts about holidays in America and motorcycles. So that's basically what Topics is. Don't know what basically you get 5 each week. It's from 350 topics, and those are loosely based on the IAB, so the advertising people, their lists. So I've just taken a screenshot from that Excel spreadsheet there. So it could be anything from, you know, plumbers to gas and electric services. There's way more in there. There's about 1,000 lines in there. But anyway, so that's what's going to happen. Apparently that's what Google are going to use, and it will be up to other browsers to basically say, yeah, that actually is okay, and we're going to do that. Or you might see another version of Topics soon, another 6 months. Anyway, there you go, Topics. This is HyperNerf. So I've already reported on Nerf, I think last year. So I'm going to have to read this. Is they're neural radiance fields, so NERFs. So what that basically means is you can take a video or you can take multiple photos of an item, and what it can then do is it can create and infer a 3D model from it. So what HyperNerf does is takes it to the next level. So not only does it use the 3D creation, which is what you're seeing on the right hand side, so in this case the coffee maker, on the left hand side is actually generated, but as you notice it's animated as well, so the coffee is filling up. These hands, for instance, are breaking a cookie and it's animating. So not only is it able to infer the 3D scene, recreate it, but it's also able to keep the video from it as well. So by sending in a video, it generates a 3D scene automatically and animates it. So you can now experience essentially a three-dimensional interactive moment from a video. There you go. So this may well be the future of selfies. HyperNerf, everybody. There you go. So check that out. There's a great, if you go to hypernerf.github.io, there's a really good website where you can actually play with this stuff as well. So definitely check that out. This is I've seen this kind of creeping up, this term, which is the quantum apocalypse. So there's a really good example on BBC website about what it really is. Now, the quantum apocalypse basically means that quantum computing is getting to the point, or very soon will be available, and it is so powerful that it will outstrip normal computing. So how fast is it? For instance, I think in 2019 there was an experiment where the quantum computer was 3 million times faster than the fastest computer in 2019. I think that was a Google experiment. Latest experiments, for instance, there's a little graph on the right hand side, that's the quantum supremacy. Basically means that a quantum computer in 200, I think it was 200 minutes, did a calculation that would take the fastest computer today 10,000 years to do. So basically what that means is quantum computers can do a huge amount of computing, which basically means they could probably crack a lot of the cryptography that is around today. So your bank account details, all sorts of things that are encoded can probably be unencoded pretty quickly with a quantum computer. So when you hear the arms race of quantum computing between Russia and China and the US, that's kind of what's at stake, and a lot of companies are doing what they call post-quantum. So is your data post-quantum proof? Have you put the security in place so that you cannot be hacked by quantum computing? Obviously that's going to be the arms race, but yeah, if you have not heard of the quantum apocalypse, apparently 2024, 2025 is when it's we're going to start to be felt. So there you go. If there's not enough to worry about in the world, all of your data, potentially all of your bank details and all of your money, probably being given up to a quantum computer. There you go. However, good news is there is a new 3D printing technique. So this is from Denmark, and what you're seeing here is essentially a bath of resin, and you're seeing a 3D form being generated in real time all over the place. So it doesn't actually do it in layers like it used to do. It actually just creates essentially a cloud of light points which then solidify the resin as a full 3D object. So if you can, if you think of CT scans, so the medical scanners that can scan a body and then create a sort of a depth map of the 3D object of the skull or whatever, that's actually the reverse of what's going on. It's a CT scan being projected into a bath of resin, and it can solidify the resin at all those points at once. So it's essentially instant 3D printing, which is what we've been after for years. But what it also can do is, depending on how much light hits every part of the resin, it can actually solidify it more or less. So you can have things like a solid item with more sort of spongy parts in it, for instance. You can create an artificial heart with valves, but also solid parts in there. So it's really, really promising. So look out for that. So this might actually just completely quash all of that. Well, 3D printing takes ages. Well, this is almost instant. There you go. And finally, if you are in Las Vegas, do head over to Resorts World, because there's this really awesome 3D spherical screen. Spherical screens aren't unique. There are a few of them out there. They're mostly by Pledco, so well done for this. But this is super cool. So it's not only a sphere of LED screens, but it's sort of just slightly underneath a sort of semi-mirrored surface as well. So just at the end of this video, you can see where it flips over and it just turns into this massive mirror ball. Just looks amazing. So and also, if you just squint at the video a little bit, you can probably see lots of little triangles, sort of tessellated triangles in there, and that's how the actual panels work. They're just triangular LED panels that are all stitched together. So that's just really neat. That's just kind of one extra thing at the end of the Dinosaw. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully I'll see you next week.